Hello, welcome back. This episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be part of Gamified hacking, but now that we've done some recon, this episode is going to go over about what to do with all of the data you have. So in the past few videos, we found subdomains, we found endpoints from seed domains and scope that we found on either HackerOne or BugCrowd or whatever the program may be. But now, especially if you're hacking on something like Yahoo or Verizon or something like that, you're really going to have just a boatload of data that you may not know what to do with. Or even if you know what to do with it, you may not know how to handle it or how to save it or how to keep it. And I'm also going to go over why that's really important for you and why you shouldn't just maybe every time you want to hack on a program, do subdomain enumeration first. Even if you have the time to do that, time aside of like the time that it would take away from hacking to just do that at the beginning of every session, you want to sit down and hack something. There's other reasons why you don't want to do that too. So that's what this video is going to be about. So to start off, again, like I just said, if you're doing one domain, like one seed domain from one program, depending on what the program is, you could end up with so many subdomains, like thousands and thousands, double, triple digit thousands of domains. And that doesn't even go, I mean, if you go down from there into endpoints and technology stacks and try and get status codes and HTTP titles and, IP addresses or DNS data or whatever, I mean, you're going to end up with so much data that you're not going to know what to do with it if you're just pulling it all and dropping it all in files. So the first thing we're going to go over is there's really like three options that I know of and that I've seen other people utilize for handling that data. The first one, like I talked about, is the one I would maybe frown upon the most. But that is just being a text file hacker, right? Just running a subdomain enumeration tool, dropping it in a text file, running another one, putting it in a text file, maybe sorting it and putting them in a text file so you don't have duplicates. But just all in all, having like a subdomain, text file, an endpoint, text file, maybe a tech stack, text file, like whatever they may be, status codes, all that kind of stuff, just dropping them in text files. And even if you're putting directories so you know which program they belong to and stuff like that, just having text files everywhere. Is this possible? Yes. You can do almost everything that you would need to do with the data from a text file, but you're making it so much more difficult than it has to be if you just put in a little more work up front and maybe a few bucks depending on how much data you're really working with to just have it in a place where you can just handle it and access it and use it much easier. But the text file route is a route. But again, if you lose those text files or you delete them or you lose track of which one's which, then they're not that good. The second one would be, I guess, what I would call like hosted databasing, whether you host it on an actual server that's sitting in your house or in your basement or something like that, or you just spin up like a DigitalOcean or a Linode like VPS server and like host MongoDB or host SQLite on it or something, just a free option of some kind of database, SQL, non-SQL, whatever. That's an option too. And I mean, like you can get, I'm pretty sure on DigitalOcean, some of the VPSs I use, go down to like $8 or $10 a month. And like you would never really overdo that if all you were doing was putting a database on it, unless you were really scanning the planet, which of course is encouraged. But again, the cost of data storage is so low right now on like hosted solutions, or even just hosting your own solution, like I said, in your basement. The cost is really so low and you have so much more control over your data. The big thing though, when you're doing this, if you're putting it in either SQL or non-SQL databases, and let me know in the comments if you need me to go over either of those two, but I'm sure, again, with the resources that are out there on the internet, you'll be more than able to figure it out. But no matter which schema or whatever of database you go with, the most important thing is putting them in relationships, and by them I mean data, putting the data in relationships that you understand. So maybe you have domains sitting at the top, and then under that you have, the list of subdomains, and let's say you're in SQL. So every subdomain would also have a matching key in another table that has that subdomain and all of its endpoints. So you could query for this subdomain, give me all the endpoints, right? Select all endpoints for this subdomain, right? That's one option. Again, for the non-SQL thing, it could be the same thing. Most of the non-SQL stuff is like JSON-esque kind of data storage. So again, just playing with key and value types and making sure the data is in an understandable format for you. Again, there's no set way to do it. Everyone's different. If I'm grabbing tech stacks, right, I should be able to go and be like, okay, this tech stack, these technologies are being used by exactly this program, right? Or these endpoints come from this subdomain, or these status codes go to these these URLs, right? If you don't know that, then the data's not that good. Even if you just have it all sitting there in a data, if you just like shoot it all into a MongoDB or something like that, but you don't know what's what, it doesn't do you much good. The third option will be a little bit more spendy, but still really cheap for the storage amount, is like a hosted managed solution. That's like a DynamoDB or an RDS in AWS, or even just like an S3 bucket isn't really managed, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just something, any of the cloud solutions have storage solutions that you can use to make it much easier, and they all come with APIs and everything to put data in, take it out, work with it, update it, whatever. So it's very easy to use. And again, that way you don't have, you're not responsible for the actual database sitting on either a VPS or a physical server that you have. Those are kind of your three options: is text files, like trying to host your own thing either physically or virtually, and then actually just using like a managed solution from a cloud provider. Again, it's dealer's choice. I would just recommend shying away from the text files. But now to get into it, I'm going to show an example from a hacker that I talked to last DEF CON. I say his name is Nagley. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to say it or not, so I'm sorry. But I met him at DEF CON last year, and we spoke for a quick second. He's a super cool guy, and he does a lot of automation in the bug bounty community, and so of course he's going to have a lot of data. And a lot of these top hackers all talk about using automation, and people are all wondering how these people do automation. And the real driver behind a lot of this automation is always going to be data. Yes, there's a side over here that they've done the extra research and put in the extra work to know how to find certain things or know where to look and know how to look. But a big part of it is just the absolute mass amount of data that they handle that a lot of other people just don't do. One of the examples that I'm going to talk about, and I'll pull up here, and again, this is from the fellow that I was just talking about, Nagley, and this is a tweet he had a couple months ago now at the time of this recording. So this is from May 2022, as you can see in the bottom. And he talks about his month of April on HackerOne. It's basically just like his review of his month on HackerOne. And if you do the math, in any given month, other than February, of course, there's 30 or 31 days, right? So, you do the math there and you say, wow, 173 vulnerabilities in 1 month is like multiple at every day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every day, all 7 days, 24/7, and multiple vulnerabilities a day. And then when you look at the programs, there's 56 different programs there. And if you have to imagine, if any of you guys actually do bug hunting, not every program you hunt on, you're going to find a bug on, right? So, if you're finding bugs on 56 programs, you're probably hunting on at least twice that, at least 100 something, at least 150 something. And I would be willing to venture that the number's higher even than that. The point I'm trying to make here is to be able, he's already mentioned multiple times that a lot of his stuff is automated. Obviously, a lot of his stuff is automated, and a lot of people on the leaderboard have automation going, and that's really awesome. The big thing is, if you're going to do something at this scale in the future, or you have any hope of doing something in this scale in the future, you have to know where your data is going and what data you have and how to work with it. If you have subdomains but you don't know what to do with them, you could have 100,000 subdomains, but it doesn't do any good. If you don't know how to check the subdomains you have for subdomain takeover, and all you do is run a tool from 2017 and hope it works, that's not going to get you the results you need, right? The same people using the same tools on the same data sets will only get duplicates and or no results. Okay? The difference here is taking the data you receive and handling it in a way that's unique to everyone else. That's where the success comes. And not only that, but there's huge success stories from diffing data, right? If you do a subdomain enumeration one day and then I do a subdomain enumeration the week later, I want to be able to compare those two and see if there's any new ones, right? Maybe staging.api.example.com is new. I didn't find it last week, but I found it this week. So maybe I get notified through my automation or my subdomain enumeration or whatever that like, hey, this domain is new. It's not just part of the now thousands of domains I maybe enumerated, but it's a new one. I didn't look at this one last time. It wasn't on the list. right? Because if it's truly a new domain and I didn't just somehow find it this time and not last time, well, a new domain means a new attack surface, new bugs, new everything else, right? I mean, even if the program's been around for years and years and years, if it's a new domain, all bets are off, right? You're off to the races. You could be the first one, second one, 10th one, like you don't really know. But the sooner you know, the better, right? So if you have all this data coming in and all these, oh, here's all the new subdomains today, or here's all the new subdomains this week compared to last week. That's another thing that gives you an advantage over everyone else. Or, oh, hey, this website had this tech stack last week, but now it has this one. That's weird. Like, why did they change from, JavaScript to Ruby on Rails? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's all stuff that you can look for. Oh, I want to see, like, I'm really good at, like, looking for WordPress vulnerabilities. So, like, I want all the WordPress sites. That's great. If you have the data, you can look for that. Or, oh, hey, like, there's a new CVE that came out on this URL. So I want every domain that's in scope for Bug Bounty Program. I just want to check this URL against it. Well, that's great if you have all the domains. None of this is special or extreme wizardry or, cutting edge CI/CD, machine learning, AI, yada, yada, yada. All of this is just basic, like, hacking sense, right? Is taking the information you have and gathering it all and seeing how you can use it to either find vulnerabilities or find new targets to hack on or find interesting things that look weird or look funny or find login pages or find API endpoints or regex for Amazon AWS tokens. We're going to go over a lot of this stuff and how to handle it in like future exploitation videos. But this video, I just want to get out there to talk about that. These first couple videos were all about gathering all this data. But if you don't do something with it, then it's not going to do you any good. So if some of you guys are following along and trying to create some kind of framework and, get subdomains and get endpoints and that kind of thing, please take some time and figure out what data you want and where you're going to put it and why. The why is important. Why are you collecting thousands of subdomains? Well, because I want to look for this, 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 and this. Well, why am I looking for URLs with just parameters in it? Well, because I want to test for XSS, or I want to try and see if I can fuzz all the URLs for, directory transversal or something like that. But you should know why you're doing something and not just because someone on a camera told you to, right? Or someone on Twitter told you to, or there's a new tool that everyone's favoriting on GitHub, or there's a tool from 5 years ago that people are using on GitHub, right? Because that normally isn't the way to go. So that's really all I have this time. I just want to put that out there, get another video out. I know it's been a while. If you're still watching, thanks for watching. We're going to start getting into exploitation stuff next. We're going to do some mindset of a hacker stuff coming up. I'm going to try and start a co-op series and get some other hackers on here to talk about their process and recon and automation and mindset and all this other stuff we're talking about to get someone else's take other than mine. So all that's coming along. So hopefully you guys will stick around. Stay tuned. Peace.